folks. Welcome back to Mad, Bad and Dangerous. We are indeed fortunate today to have with us Dave Mattox, who's come all the way from the USA to perform with the Feast of Fiddles. In the past, Dave has played with Fairport Convention, Rosanne Cash, Paul McCartney, Elton John, Chris Rea, Brian Eno, Jimmy Page, Alison Moyet and even Max Bygraves. Dave, that's a lot of styles, a lot of people. How does the actual lifestyle on tour differ between those people?
Well, the kind of people that I've worked with have not really been in that kind of archetypal rock thing. They don't really fall into the kind of TV's out the window brigade. No. You know, I suppose Jethro Tull was probably more kind of rock and roll, maybe a little bit more rock and roll than anybody else. Chris Rea, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Richard Thompson, those are the main people that I've toured with over the years. And like I said, I wouldn't say we were all tucked up with a hot chocolate at 10:30, but we weren't kind of, wigging out till 4 in the morning.
Anyway. One of the things we cover in Mad, Bad and Dangerous is this idea that drumming is incredibly therapeutic in terms of the actual act of drumming, because they get something out of their system.
The therapeutic side for me wasn't necessarily the physical side. Right. For me, a bit of a cliche, I suppose, it's always the therapeutic side was the music. Yeah. I suppose that sounds a bit corny and kind of old hat, but I'd like to think that I can play at a pretty loud volume when I've thought it's musically pertinent. Yeah. But I've never really been into. It's not me. I mean, there's guys that do that and they do it fantastically well, but it's not me. So
So it's more the musical side of it, how it's fitting in and how you're contributing. But as an art form,
across. Well,
that's therapeutic as an art form.
Well, isn't it? I always hesitate to use that word because when people start talking about art form and seeing themselves as artists. Yeah. I couldn't possibly, and I can't bear that. The sensibility that I came up through was that you took what you did seriously, but you certainly didn't take yourself seriously. So I've always held that kind of art with a capital A thing very much at bay. And I'm very wary of putting that tag. We're all people and we're all trying to do the best we can and we're all trying to make good music.
John Heisman wrote a book called Playing the Band, didn't he? And that's about the importance of playing for the music and for what else is being constructed rather than just for the drumming itself.
Most of the time it's the last thing, the drumming is the last thing I'm thinking about when I'm up there, whether it's in the studio or live,
So in a sense, that is part of the sort of the wider feeling of it being therapeutic, because you're part of something else. You're actually a very important cog in a bigger wheel.
I really genuinely feel that when I look around and people are smiling and the big picture's happening, rather. I'm not thinking, in 8 bars I get to do this, or hey, listen how good this cymbal sounds.
Because I like to see people jumping up and down, and I enjoy what's going on out there more than what's going on up here.
Absolutely, the ultimate thing is to try and be a part of creating something. It's part of this kind of current semi-obsession with beats. Show me beats.
Different types of
show me beats.
And rhythms.
No, I'm not going to show you any beats. I'll show you how to create. Maybe I'll give you some advice about creating a drum part that starts here and it goes to this section, it goes to this section, and maybe it's got something here and something here, and we're trying to create an arc. But beats, there was an article in it. There was an article. I'm going to get this off my chest because you got me going here. There was an article in a magazine. It was like a special article, how to play songs, and I wrote to the editor and I went, what else is there? What else? You're going to jam on 2 chords for half an hour? That's going to last. That's really going to keep my attention. In other words, the tunes and the songs are everything. That's you're trying to create a vibe, but like it was the implication being that it was some kind of sidebar to making music.
Yeah, was it some drummer said you become a real drummer when you stop listening to yourself, which is like
stop thinking about yourself. Yeah.
Has anything really bizarre happened to you on the road or in the studio?
I remember one of the big Tull gigs, like a 10,000 seater, and the inevitable sea of sincerity coming backstage after the gig, and somebody saying, "Oh, what do you do?" You know, I was up there with a 4-piece band. I went, oh, I'm the band accountant. And they went, oh, that's nice. Well, I guess somebody's got to look after them. I said, yeah, it's very interesting. And that shows you...
And they didn't have a clue that you've actually been playing with Jethro Tull.
No. As my wife said many, many years ago, there you are, bashing away on the bongos at the back. No wonder nobody pays attention.
Well, we've been
unless you're Tommy Lee, of course.
Yeah, well, we've been trying to bring the drummer to the front a bit, I suppose, with Mad, Bad and Dangerous, in terms of the importance of what they do, etc.
Well, if there's one thing that I will agree with, and I'm sure you'll subscribe to this, and that's I do. If I have a drummer bias, it's towards that adage about a band is as good as the drummer.
Only as good as its drummer.
Yeah,
very true. You mentioned to me earlier, we were having a chat about something that happened with Max Bygrave.
Oh, okay.
Bygrave.
The Max Bygrave story. Okay. So back in the day when sometimes I was getting, you know, the really kind of cool stuff, the John Martins and Nick Drakes and people, and then other times you were just a working musician. Hello, 10 to 1, 2 to 5, 6 to 9, pie number 3. You know, go. You know, bring your big drums. It's a rock session. You know, kind of. And you'd roll up and you didn't have any idea what it was for. And I rolled up I remember it was Pie at Marble Arch, and I rolled up, and there was myself, Pete Zorn I think was on the bass, Martin Jenner, who sadly is no longer with us, was on guitar, and Chris Caron, who is a wonderful drummer and percussionist, on percussion. And everyone said, well, who's the session for? And I eventually found out that it was for Max Bygraves, who was, I have to say, was absolutely charming and a real sweetheart. He was going to do an album of disco versions of all his hits. I'll let you draw your own conclusions. Well, it would be lovely, wouldn't it? Like music, you know, Tulips from Amsterdam, but a disco beat, fantastic, you know. So everyone just goes, right, okay, so we get on with it. I mean, it was the whole album in a day. We just ploughing through them. And we got to the end of one particular song, and the doors opened, and Chris stuck his head out of his booth into the main room where I was with the DI bass, and he said, Dave, what song are we doing next? And I said, oh, I think we're doing, you know, it was Tulips from Amsterdam next. And Chris goes, I just played that one. In other words, the part, because every song, so the parts are almost identical. They're almost identical. And Chris said, oh, I just played that one.
So
we could have been playing anything.
You could have literally just done a whole all the way through, and they could have just chopped it up.
Yeah, they could have.
And that album did come out, I imagine.
I'm sure it came out, and I'm sure it did very, very well. And it's
I'd love to go.
along with my Nick Drake and my Brian Eno and my Paul McCartney. It's one of my proudest moments. Yes.
You played with George Harrison as well, didn't you?
Yeah, my first time with George was the morning that John got shot.
Yeah.
Ray Cooper had called me and fixed up some sessions, and then he called me about 8 o'clock in the morning of the session. He said, have you heard what's happened? And I said, no, and he told me. I said, oh, okay, well, obviously that's horrible news. Everybody was upset. And he said, words to the effect, I'm not sure what's going to happen. So, you know, kind of stand down. And then he called me back a couple of hours later and said, no, we're going to record. George thinks it would be a good idea to make some music today rather than sit around talking, moping about it. Yeah, and we did. And we
would have wanted, yeah.
And we cut some good music that day. And we all sat around at the end of the evening. Him and Olivia made some food for everybody, and it was very, very cool. And he said, it's crazy. He said, the great phrase was, he said, I can't believe it's got to this. I just wanted to be in a band. I remember thinking, wow.
Hi there. Hope you enjoyed that first part of our interview with Dave Mattox. Second part coming up soon, followed by our special new Q&A session featuring Jerome Marcus. In the meantime, for all our other videos, check them out over there. Hi folks, welcome back to Mad, Bad and Dangerous. We are indeed
But I wouldn't say panic attacks, but definitely nervous at times, yeah. Less so as I get older.
This is the ladies' loo.
This is the ladies, yeah.
I didn't realise we were actually doing it in the ladies' loo.
Yeah, it's considerably smarter than the men's loo.
Powers of observation change completely when this sort of gear is... Jerome Marcus, the first of those coming up. In the meantime, please enjoy these videos, all the other ones on over there, and I'll do it again.
Yeah.